Today, I'm going to be talking you through 10 European countries that you can currently travel to unvaccinated. Since I'm covering such a wide range of countries, it's going to be quite difficult to keep them all updated like I normally do. I will try my best and put things in the top of the description or as a pinned comment, but I really recommend that you do some research yourself. I will link all the important links below. All the government websites for each country will be linked down below. So please, before you decide to book or even travel, have a quick check of those links just to double check if anything has changed, you're still okay to travel, and if you need anything. It's a lot easier to keep you updated through all of my socials, so I really recommend you give those a follow. As always, feel free to ask me a question down below in the comments, or again, you can message me on any of my socials listed here, and I will do my best to get back to you. This video was accurate as of the 13th of April, so like I said, if you're watching this after then please check the websites below just to check if anything has changed. So, as you know, not every rule for every country is the same, so as well as giving you 10 countries you can travel to unvaccinated, I will explain what you need to be able to travel to these places. And just quickly, if this video does help you, I would really appreciate it if you could give it a like and you could hit that subscribe button. And with that, let's get on to the video. So these countries aren't in any order, they're just random. So let's start off firstly with Croatia. So there's 3 variations of the rules for Croatia, depending on whether you're an EU citizen or not. So, if you are a non-EU citizen, then you will either need to take a PCR test within 72 hours or a rapid antigen test within 24 hours prior to arrival. Or you can go down the proof of recovery route if you've had COVID. So it doesn't matter whether you've tested positive on a PCR or an antigen test, it just needs to be older than 11 days and no more than 180 days old if you want to use proof of recovery instead of taking a test. If you're an EU citizen travelling from a non-EU country, you will also need to do one of these, so either test or proof of recovery. And as well as doing one of those things, whether you're an EU coming from a non-EU country or you're a non-EU citizen, then you will also need to fill out the Croatian health form. And this will be linked below too. And finally, if you're an EU citizen travelling from a country in the EU, then you don't need anything. You don't even need to fill out the form. You can just enter. So I hope that covers Croatia. Nothing like starting with one of the most confusing ones, but I hope you understand it, and like I said, any questions, ask below. So next up on the list is Portugal. So if you're travelling from one of these countries, then you're going to need to take a PCR test within 72 hours before departure or a rapid antigen test within 24 hours before departure. Or again, you can enter without a test if you have proof of recovery within the time period of again 11 to 180 days. All passengers will also have to complete their passenger locator form, which again will also be linked down below. The rules are also different for Madeira and the Azores. If you're travelling from a country that wasn't on that list, then you will not be able to travel to Portugal unvaccinated, unfortunately. So next up is Greece. Again, similar, you will also have to take a PCR test within 72 hours prior to arrival, or a rapid antigen test taken within 24 hours prior to arrival. Or again, you're able to show proof of recovery if you've had COVID, but this time it's within 14 days and 180 days. For Greece, there's no longer a form that is required to be filled in, so you just need a COVID test or proof of recovery. Did you know you can also enter Turkey unvaccinated? So for Turkey, you need again either a negative PCR test taken within 72 hours before entry, so I'm going to assume that means arrival, or you can take a negative rapid antigen test, again 48 hours prior to arrival. Or, again, you can show proof of recovery, but this time please note that you have to have tested positive 28 days ago and within 180 days. So 28 days must have passed since your first positive result. And you will also need to complete the health declaration form. Next on the list is Cyprus, and I'm actually going to make a separate video for this because the rules are changing. So the rules for Cyprus actually change on the 18th of April. So, to enter Cyprus, you will be required to take a PCR test within 72 hours prior to departure, or a rapid antigen test taken within 24 hours prior to departure. But note on this, it cannot be a self-test. If you're taking an antigen test, it can't be a self-test. Alternatively, you can show proof of recovery that is no more than 180 days old, and their health form is optional, so if you want to complete it you can, but you don't have to. Alright, so let's do an easier one, which I think is quite popular for those who are unvaccinated. So if you're wanting to travel to Spain, but obviously can't since Spain require you to be fully vaccinated, maybe consider Gibraltar. When travelling to Gibraltar, you don't need anything. All travel rules have been scrapped. No tests, no proof of vaccination, and no quarantine. You can enter normally as you would have done before COVID. So let's stick with the easy ones for a bit. You can also travel to Hungary, a great place for a long weekend. And similar to Gibraltar, they have 0 travel restrictions. So again, no tests required, no proof of vaccination, and no quarantine. And the last place on this list who have currently abolished all their travel restrictions, which you might want to consider, is Ireland. If you fancy going to Ireland this year, again, there is no test required, no vaccination, and no quarantine. So the 2 countries left, I have made separate videos on both of them already, and you can watch those on my channel and they'll be linked below in the description. But they're trickier because of different things. So next up is France. Now, you can only enter France unvaccinated if you're from a green country. So this right here in front of me is a current updated list of all the green countries. So if you're travelling from one of these countries, you will either need a negative PCR test taken within 72 hours prior to departure, or a negative rapid antigen test taken within 48 hours prior to departure. If your country is not on this list, then you cannot enter France unvaccinated at the moment. And finally, the last country on this list that you can travel to unvaccinated is Italy. So like I said, I have made a video on this already and it's certainly much more in-depth than this. But please bear in mind that the rules do change in May. So at the moment, the entry rules for Italy, you can enter with either a negative PCR test taken within 72 hours before entering, or a negative rapid antigen test taken within 48 hours before entering. Or again, you can use proof of recovery that is no more than 180 days old. You will also be required to complete the passenger locator form. Now the travel entry rules are expected to be assessed at the end of this month, so they could change. And if they do change, I will probably make another video on that. But the main change for Italy coming next month is on the rules once you're there. So at the moment, you either need to obtain a green pass or a super green pass. Now a green pass can be used to enter most places, but some places do require a super green pass. And a super green pass you can only obtain with proof of vaccination or proof of recovery. To get a green pass, you will have to test regularly. You will have to take either an antigen test every 48 hours, or you will have to take a PCR test every 72 hours to be able to obtain this pass. But these rules will be scrapped on the 1st of May. So from the 1st of May, there will be no green pass, there will be no super green pass. Nowhere will require any type of pass or vaccination. You can just enter everywhere as normal. But like I said, that doesn't come into place until the 1st of May. So there you go. 10 countries in Europe you can travel to unvaccinated. Hopefully more countries will open up to those unvaccinated soon. And hopefully other countries will remove restrictions altogether. Let me know what country you want to hear about next in the comments below. Feel free to ask me any questions below or on any of my social media. And I will do my best to get back to you. As I said at the beginning, if this video helped, I would really appreciate it if you could give it a like and if you could hit the subscribe button. Thank you all for watching, stay safe and happy travelling!